The rain beats hard on the windows of the old shack. Inside, through the panes where the color refracts from the running water, can be seen a derelict scene. Bowls and plates, chairs thrown aside in this old dilapidated cottage on the far northern end of the beach. The sound of crying comes from the basement. As we pan into the basement, we see the figure of a young man in his prime with a distressed look upon his face. As we look over his shoulder, we see down in a flash of lightning illuminates an aged and weakened woman dressed all in black, tied to an old wire bed frame, but her body surges with supernatural strength, and her face twists and contorts. From her lungs issue the sound of a man's voice, angry and full of wrath. "Harry Keen, you derelict! How dare you do this to me? I cannot believe the trap you have turned into! Let me out so I can wring your dirty neck!"
Mama, you don't mean it. It's not you. It's not you. Calm down, Mama.
You cannot call me a woman. You are the woman. You were a dirty, petty little girl. I will show you. And then suddenly, the intensity changes, and it goes into the weakened little woman. She sort of shakes inside of herself, one arm hanging limp to the side, its fingers broken and mangled from an earlier attempt to try and free itself or smash a door in. But this man goes, oh, Hattie, my baby.
Mama,
you must go and take me to the Fisher Queen. Take me. And then, at the same time, as everyone on the beach, a broad stretch from the small cottage to the far north to where the USS Virginia is moored on the far southern end. A whole array of people who have all turned to look at the distressed US Marine who stands in the middle of the beach, a wisp of gun smoke rising up through the pouring rain. He looks up. I didn't mean to. I couldn't contain him. He was gonna kill me. And he looks around as if trying to explain himself to the 80, 90 or more people on the beach who have all turned to look at him. All of these people who seemed just absent-mindedly staring to the top of the hill, staring to the mount, staring to the lighthouse on the top of the island Petra. And at this point, the small, frail woman who's tied to the bed, as well as every other person on the beach, all raise their heads to the sky and let out a deafening scream that pierces everyone's ears. Please, everybody make a power roll.
Oh, baby.
What do I roll for a power roll? What am I rolling?
Willpower. Power.
Willpower.
P-O-W. Pow, pow, pow. P-O-W.
Pow.
That's a fail.
Success.
Everybody who failed can lose 1 sanity point and grasps your ears and falls to the ground, just holding on as the piercing scream echoes across the beach and through the night. The scream of your mother and father issuing. Every person, in fact, on the beach is screaming, not with 1, but 2, sometimes 3 octaves, as if they are not the only ones screaming. You look down, and as your mother screams, Ian Harry Keen, and her mouth opens, you see that inside, upon her tongue and in the insides of her mouth are encrusted with barnacles. And you stagger back. Did you pass your power test?
I did not.
Okay, you stagger back, stumbling out of up the stairs, running out of the house, and you come up the stairs and you burst open through the door, and you look out, and your view now pans across the whole beach, and you see, apart from all the people you recognize from the town, the one person who you trusted most in the world. Enzo, did you pass your roll?
Yeah, of course.
standing stalwart in the middle of this, accompanying a few U.S. Marines, is Enzo, the boat pilot. And you all look up as you see the crack of lightning illuminate on the far northern end of the beach, holding a lantern and holding his ears with an immense amount of distress in his face is a strikingly handsome young man wearing a striped shirt and a white cheese cutter and some gold medallions around his neck. And he seems to be affected, as all of you are.
Harry!
Enzo! Enzo!
What happened?
Mom has gone insane!
Harry.
As you start rushing across the beach towards each other, the screaming subsides and the heads start coming down, and then all of the people start moving towards the Marine. Father, you are this close to understanding Marcus the Confessor's true cargo and purpose here, as you move towards the pile of antique boxes that lie strewn around the beach.
I want to confirm that it's empty, but my inkling is that it was... Didn't they say that it was already dragged up elsewhere to the top of the hill? The jewel thieves have left already?
The contents, the box was kicked over, it was open, but there were other containers that have been taken up from the wreck, and the jewel thieves are racing off in their white convertible up around the road that leads to the top of the island.
Then I'm running up to the box with my papers that I've been carrying around for this whole mission.
Yep.
Papers. And I'm pulling them out of the satchel, and I'm just checking to see that what I think is actually missing is in fact...
the rain is pouring down, so the papers could get destroyed.
Blowing away. I'm more or less just rummaging through the box and going to Mary. I don't think they're here.
Give me a spot hidden roll.
Spot hidden. I roll.
And Mary, would you like to help?
84. That ain't going to cut anything.
Not going to cut a lot.
Well, I remember, I believe I was shooting at them as they left, but if I have time and they're far gone, I'll help.
Okay, yeah, they're away. You'd have to race up them. You're more distracted by the more immediate sort of...
Oh,
nothing here, I say, with my 84.
That is a 6, so under 60.
Okay, he's like, there's nothing here, and he kicks a box. He kicks a box, and the box falls over and spills a bunch of scroll tubes that have been oiled and waxed sealed out in front of you, and he sort of like hangs his head in despair in his hands, and you pick up one of the scroll tubes and you look and you see that the seal on the tube is that of Marcus the Confessor. You only recognize it because on the way over here, Dr. Father Federico Medetti was telling you about it in great detail.
Okay, can I grab like my satchel that I've been carrying and see if I can kind of scoop them into it without the father noticing?
I'm rolling a spot hidden. Oh, you found them! Thank the Lord! Put them into the satchel. Praise be!
You hear a cry from the other end of the beach because as Harry runs down the beach, suddenly these people, as they are turning towards the Marines and they're starting to move towards the Marine that fired, they're also starting to close in a circle around Harry.
Marines, clear the way! We need to rescue this boy, man, child.
Permission to fire, sir!
Permission granted.
Help me!
Non-lethal shots, men. Non-lethal.
So these people on the beach, they're unerring. You see them in the lightning flashing in the rain, the slick of various crustaceans growing in pieces around their beards behind the lids of their eyes, and they're and they look to be reaching out towards you with wantonous hands.
Okay, I'm moving back towards, like, hiding behind Archie and Enzo.
Okay.
She's not really a warrior.
That's totally
fascinating. I'm trying to observe everything while I'm doing this. Like, I'd be very interested in their behavior and observing them, but I'm trying to keep my distance.
Follow me, lady!
And stay near the people who might be able to protect me.
All right,
I'm gonna go get Harry.
So Harry, these people are closing on you.
I'm gonna try and do a little bit of dodge and run.
All right, cool. Give me a dodge roll.
Yes. Standard
Okay, cool.
success.
So you duck in, you sort of, like stumble and fall, crawl on the sand. It looks like he's just like some kind of bumbling fool, but really he is the drunken master as he sort of ducks and weaves and gets out of the way. He's just like he was born running away from something his whole life, and he's just following his instincts.
This
These
is
things
just another one
closing
of more of your problems.
However, the rest of them are closing in around the Marines, and the Marines start freaking out, and they're just like pulling the levers on the bolt action rifles. One of them has
my weapon and assist in trying to keep them clear so that we can get Harry out and also get off the beach ourselves.
Yeah. All right, so you all start backing away, and of course, you hear the shots, Federico and Mary, and you look back and you see this skirmish is evolving where the people who are quite disparately spread along the beach are now all starting to clump and closing off the avenues of escape for these people.
So they're blocking off the avenues of escape for all of our friends, yeah?
Yes. So they're able to like fight off the ones that are coming in, but shooting them at the moment. Shots just smashing in like bloodless parts of the body, separating from others.
We need to save them with the truck.
Yeah, so I start running towards the truck and I jump behind the wheel.
All right, cool. Yep. You jump in the truck.
One drive roll.
No, it's
I'll
fine.
run with her.
Close, but not too close.
Father, have you shot a gun before?
Me?
Yes, of course.
Oh.
Well, Federico, we'll take this, and I pass Federico my pistol, and turn the car on.
So you just, but give me a drive roll to see how many people you want to avoid or hit. Up to you.
Okay, I would like to hit bad people.
Classic.
And that is 10 under 20, so I believe that's a good success.
You hit the ramp, scraping of sparks comes out from underneath the truck as the old vehicle starts running down the ramp. Ian, Harry, King, you sort of make it through and you come back into the center where the Marines are forming a cordon, but even then you reach just as three people like grab one of the Marines, dragging them to the ground. He sort of like tries to butt them with his rifle, and then one of them just thrusts his hand straight down the Marine's throat through his mouth, and another one sort of comes up and starts piercing fingers into his eyeball, and the other ones are just trying
While Mary was
tear him.
driving, I was blessing the bullets.
Yep.
Once the hand goes down the throat, I'm shooting that guy in the face with a blessed bullet.
Okay, cool.
can.
It's like
Taking the
the
shot
bodies like of the various corpses are sort of running off the vehicle. And you guys are being attacked. So 1, 2. Enzo, you've got two of these humanoid possessed creatures who are just like tearing at you. They sort of
Absolutely dodging as much as I can,
Okay, so give me a dodge.
using all of the power of my sea legs. Which is, hey, nice. That's a good success. 17.
All right, awesome. So you duck underneath one of their attacks, but then another one still comes in, and it's as if the flesh itself has been soaking in water so long that it just peels back from the bones.
Ugh.
The bones shred through your clothes and give a sharp laceration across your stomach, doing 3 points of damage.
Yeah, you got to get some disinfectant on that.
Archie,
My abs!
two come in and swipe at you, one of them looking to land a potentially damaging blow.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot him.
Okay.
Or I have some sort of weapon. That's really crap. 94. And
Okay. You just
Consider the civilian.
try and bring your gun down, but it just ricochets off his shoulder as he comes in again. His fingers coming straight out towards you, the skin slurring off the bone as it slides into your, sliding straight into the flesh of your arm, causing another 3 points of damage to you as well. And Ian, you've sort of been ducking out of the way. And Sam, these guys are in between, so the three boys are like basically forming a cordon around you. And Ian, you dive through and you look up into the face of this woman who seems, in spite of the distress that she's in, seems to be aware of a situation and carefully, keenly observing everything in her environment. In your distress, you see a sense of something you can find comfort in. This woman, you couldn't save your mother, but maybe you can save her.
Every time on these islands.
But the three of you are back to back, Enzo and Archie and Ian, and these and the Marines are sort of like helping form a cordon, but another Marine just gets mobbed by three of these guys.
These Marines are using rifles, yeah?
Yes, but some of them have dropped the rifles, and one of them has dropped a pistol. Yeah, pistol's like just fallen by the wayside.
I'm going for that pistol.
All right, so you pick up a Colt 45 and cock it.
I've been listening to the wireless at this very moment.
It's the one good thing your father ever did for you, apparently, was to show you how to use this gun.
He always said, always use guns you can hide.
Oh, 22.
And take a shot. Take 2 shots if you want. It's automatic.
That's a great success. And a standard success.
Shots fly off. The top of the head of one of these guys flies away. You see a little tentacle from a baby octopus just whittling out from where his brain might be. And the other one sort of catches another guy in the shoulder. He sort of spins around completely. His neck spins and snaps. He falls to the ground limply, still issuing sounds in more than one octave as he hits the floor. And then this truck swipes across the beach. Please, Mary Tomlin, give me a drive roll.
I'm gonna swallow the vomit that is now in my mouth.
88 over 20, so
Okay, cool.
not good.
The truck is looking like it's trying to stop on the beach, but they were going too fast, and the rest of you guys are aware that this thing is going to cleanly sweep straight through your current location.
Shit. I'm gonna try and shove Sam out of the way.
All right, so Enzo and Harry both instinctively go to save Sam.
Oh no!
On your own, Archie.
Oh no!
I'm trying to help my Marines out here, whatever's left of them.
Okay, cool.
Dodge, yes, just under.
Okay, cool.
Got a lot of
So you,
for a big man.
you grab like 2 of your boys and by the scruff of the necks and go, get down! And so you dive in between the truck wheels as it goes sideways, slides over your position. Ian, Sam, and Enzo, the 3 of you dive to the side out of the way of the truck, both holding Sam Norman in this large cluster of bodies descending to the floor. And the truck skids to a halt. Other bodies get collected and thrown. People who are 2 of the other Marines get collected on the back of the tray. One of them gets caught under the wheels. 7 or more of these desperate multi-octave creatures with the barnacles get blown beyond smithereens. One of them has their skeleton almost completely knocked out of their body. And you see the flesh is so loose that it is barely holding on. It's just
Sam is completely
falling off.
fascinated by all of this.
Yeah.
For the love of God, get in the truck!
While they're all puking and trying to save her, she's like, wow!
Okay.
I'm
What
going
is
to
that?
scurry
Disintegrate!
out.
I've never seen that before!
I'm scurrying out from underneath, and I'm going to try and grab dog tags of those fallen Marines as I go.
You do so, but you see these creatures are slowly getting up and still more are coming in.
And dump in the tray. Get in, boys! Get in!
I'm gonna hop on one side of the back of the truck and wave
Cool.
Ian and Sam in.
Yep, and Ian, you sort of, the other guys jump in and you get into the cab. There's room for 4 to sit in the front. It's just a big bench seat. So who's getting on the back?
Myself and the Marines.
Yep, yourself, the Marines. And I take it Sam and Ian get in the front seat, yes?
Yeah.
And Enzo, you ride heroically on the side, holding on, wielding your pistol. You crack a shot off at 1 or 2 of the creatures who fall to the
Yeah,
ground.
we'll be shooting as well. I'll,
Yeah.
you know,
I'll pop some caps off if I need to get them some time
Yep.
to get to the truck.
Thanks for the
So
save,
you
Mary.
end up sitting right next to Mary Tomlin, the driver. And where are you guys heading?
Well,
Currently, the direction of the truck is currently heading. Well, it's facing out towards the sea after that skid.
To the lighthouse. To the lighthouse.
yeah, to
the
the
lighthouse,
lighthouse.
exactly.
That's where the jewel thieves have gone. That's where I'm interested in.
Yeah, and
That's where
you
everyone
hear
was facing too,
Mm.
in their stupor.
Were they to the lighthouse or to the middle of the island at the top?
Well, the jewel thieves, they've got a great head start on you, and they're going in their super fast car, and they're winding up a long mountain road around the outsides of the island, and yet they're heading towards the lighthouse.
Yeah,
In fact,
Mama.
you look up, and you can see like 3 tiers of the road up. They're coming back around the circle again. The headlights shh, of lightning illuminating the white sports.
All right, I kick that car into gear, and I just let's go.
Father, Mama, she's sick, but she said we needed to get her to the Fisher Queen to save her.
What's the Fisher Queen?
She's the wise lady of the island. She lives in a shack near the lighthouse.
Interesting.
Your mother's probably possessed by a demon, and you shouldn't listen to the things she says. I'm saying this in Italian. You shouldn't listen to the things she says, and I pass him my clutch of rosary beads that I had been wrapping around my fist like boxing bindings, and I take them off and I give them to him. As if they're going to be some
in
kind of
Italian.
comfort. And then I
Mama,
start loading their
Inside
pistols.
manner.
she spoke in the voice of Papa. She was angry and evil, but when she was herself for short periods of time, she would talk of the Fisher Queen. I know you don't like her, but you know she has power. She nearly cursed me as a child.
I put my hand on him and I say, with actual honest empathy,
Sure.
don't listen to the voices of Satan. And
Enough of your superstition. You'll scare him.
it is all in
It's
Italian.
not
Let's just
Satan.
speak Italian. I'm specifically doing this in Italian because it's the language
I
of
speak Latin.
superstition.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Oh shit.
I'm just
we
taking
will,
this.
we will
say it
agree to
in
disagree.
Enough of your superstition.
We will agree to disagree.
All right.
Hurry, it's gonna be okay. Tell us what else your mother said and how we can find this Fisher woman.
Oh, the Fisher woman. She's the wise woman of the island. She married the lighthouse keeper, but Mama, she wasn't herself. She would speak as Dad, and she would break her bones trying to get at me. She was violent. I had to tie her to the bed, but when she was normal again, she would beg me to take her to the Fisher Queen so she could help. I never used to put much stock in it, but look, the shell people.
She's got a point. There are shell people.
We'll bring the
Where are we
Fisher
going
Queen to
now?
her.
Who's driving?
I'm driving. And
Where are
not
we
to be.
headed?
We're headed to the lighthouse to do what we came here originally to do.
Perfect.
And not to be a spot of bother, but what exactly is? I'm sorry, but young man, who exactly are you, and why are we trusting him?
This is Harry. He's fine.
He's infected.
Yeah, I'm hanging off the truck.
Sam, could you please give him an examination while we're on our way?
Of course. Good precaution. Well thought of, Mary. And I will inspect him for any signs that he has also been infected
Okay.
by whatever's happening.
Go with it, Ian.
particles
So you
of
get
shell.
to the southern end of the beach, and you start crawling up the ramp. Give me a medicine roll, please, Sam Norman.
Medicine roll. If I can find my dice, which I somehow have lost.
We're just shooting out the back of the truck anything that's getting close.
Yeah.
I feel compelled to stir the scientist. I say he's fine. He didn't react to the rosaries being placed in his hand.
No, that was not good. Medicine is not my strong suit.
All right, cool. Give me a biology roll then.
You're not that kind
I
of
can do
doctor.
that. Biology's way better.
I will acquiesce to the
perfect.
pretty lady's
37,
biology.
Yes, I'm fine. 37 under 50.
Okay, cool. So you're not sure whether or not he's dying, but it seems like you're looking him over, and From what you could see of these bee creatures, it was kind of strange. It wasn't making sense how they were growing. It looked like they were growing on the bones, though, not on the skin, which could mean to you that something is starting on the something is getting inside these people and growing up from the bones, which is causing, perhaps releasing enzymes that are causing a disintegration of the flesh and a separation of the flesh and the muscle tissue from the bone. That's the best that you can surmise. Looking over Harry Keene, you're like, oh well. So this woman is starting to like look over you. She's like pulling your shirt aside and sort of examining you and like feeling. You're trying to feel
very hairy.
the flesh.
It's making it difficult.
Beneath the flesh for lumps, like crustaceans that might be growing directly off the bone itself, is your supposition. And
look at bony parts.
you feel a couple of small lumps here and there beneath the skin on the places where bones shouldn't have lumps. It's definitely hard to feel through the hair, but you need to cut him open to really get in there and see. You're fleecing him down, and then I need to cut him open somehow, and then like your hand slips into a pocket and touches something firm, and you hear everyone hears a fling, shifting, click, as you pull out a switchblade, which Ian obviously has on him.
That's mine. Thank you. That's for professionals only, I'm afraid.
Mary and Frederico, you're driving up the main road. You're in between where the beach is, and you're getting back towards the main town, so you can get onto the road that sort of winds around the outside. When suddenly, from the shadows from a beach shack, you see there's a small like fisherman's shack, and then you see suddenly darting across the road a dark, inhuman form, larger than a normal man and twisted beyond recognition. A shape whose very visage is almost that of a shadow, blacking all light, even as the lightning flashes again in the sky.
Just say
its
demon.
form absorbs all of the light.
That's all I'm seeing right now. Humans and demons.
Yeah. Except for two white pinpricks where its eyes should be. It sort of turns to look at the truck, and again, just this black outline. And then as the truck approaches, like you think you're going to hit it, Mary. So give me a power roll.
Power roll.
Can I grab the steering wheel to make sure she does hit it?
That is, it's a good it's a success.
Okay. So you see a figure. Give me a spot hidden roll.
Spot hidden. Ooh, that is a great success.
You see it as I described it. You do not think it's a figure. It is some kind of bizarre apparition, a twisted figure. So you can lose a sanity point because of that.
Oh, damn.
Whereas Father Frederico is staunch in his knowledge of what this really
Already
is.
insane in a special kind of way.
Vivian is sweet.
But you were the only two who see it, and what would you like to do, Mary? You're driving.
So it's in our. Is it in our path?
It's in your path, yeah. It's like it was trying
I'm trying to hold the steering wheel and say over.
Yeah, I'm gonna run into it. Let's try that. But I'm gonna yell out to my friends to yell to hold their horses.
To hold
All right.
on.
Hold on, yeah.
Well, Ian and Sam are rather distracted right now. So you guys get bumped in the car, falling into a slightly more compromising position, where Sam is seated and Ian is slumped completely in the well beneath the seat. Enzo and Archie, you're sort of like, whoa, holding onto the back. One of the Marines, like, let's go, and slips, loosing from your fingers, falling off the back of the truck, lands on the ground. And then from next to him, you see this shadow just emerge from the pavement, the same form that I previously described, that these other people, that Father Frederico and Mary Tomlin saw out the front, now just emerges up from the ground and raises claws off and descends upon the Marine, tearing a bright spark out from his chest.
Can I roll something other than a 90 today?
Marine get any shots off on his way out?
You fire some shots wildly, but then you see the creature duck off to the side of the road in towards, and roll a spot hidden for me, please.
Oh, I bet you it's 90. Oh Oh, wait. Now I'm just going to see what my spot is. No successes.
You can spend luck if it's close.
Enzo, you can also make a roll, so you're on the back. And yes, you can spend luck if you're close.
No. There's not enough luck in the world. I'm basically holding on with one hand and kind of...
I can spend enough luck to get there. I don't need luck. Who needs luck?
So you look off and you can see the creature ducks off the road and towards what appears to be a network, a cluster of rocks, and you see what looks like a cave entrance.
I'm going to tap on the top of the cab. Stop! Stop!
I'm going to tap on the top of the cab. Keep going! Keep going!
Make up your mind.
And I say to Mary, listen to Enzo. Or
And
ignore the
I
American.
keep going.
All right. Well, you guys can keep yelling through the windshield. Like you can talk to Enzo, who's like he's hanging off the side.
Which side is he hanging off? The driver's side or the passenger side?
Driver's side, so I can talk shit at Mary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are you saying?
Are we going, Enzo?
Yeah, we're going. We're going.
Yeah,
we're going.
we're going.
Look in the rear view. We're not stopping.
Oh, okay. Yep. Let's go.
There's a cave! It might be an entrance.
An entrance to what?
I don't know, but it's where the thing went.
Ian,
Yes.
you heard that as well. What they were saying.
The caves? You don't want to go in the caves. It's not good in there. That's where they do the things.
What things?
Well, there's a... Father, block your ears. You're not going to want to hear this. But there's these series of tunnels and caves there. You know, it's most of them the kids just use for a little bit of a... But there's like the weird cathedral and stuff as well. The fisherwoman, she nearly cursed me for going in there when I was a kid. That's why my father died so young.
Yeah, those caves, they lead all the way up to the top of the mountain.
Are they fast? Are they faster way up the mountain than the road, winding roads?
I mean, if you're quick and scampery, it takes you ages to go around the island a dozen times.
Where's
It's
the...
faster than the thieves.
Where's the
Alright, I
fisherwoman
changed
here?
directions. I pull that car around. We'll go through the caves.
But
No.
really, you should probably stick with the car.
This island's godlessness has resulted in its own undoing. This is the work of the Lord, I think.
You said you'd block your ears.
Priests lie, Ian. Priests lie all the time.
But the caves are faster, so let's go through the caves.
But didn't the shadow thing just go in the caves?
Yes.
I agree. Didn't this shadow thing just go
Yeah,
in the cave?
let's-
In
You
the
didn't
dark
see a
cave?
shadow thing, Sam Norman. There's a shadow thing.
Oh, there's a shadow thing? What shadow thing? Wait a minute. There's a shadow thing. We know there's a woman who seems to know more than we do.
I
It was
think we
some
should
sort of
probably have a
beast.
chat with her after having a nice truck ride.
I mean, because
Stay
she's in
in the
caves
truck,
as
Mary.
well.
Drive to the roof. Drive to the
We
fisherman.
don't even know if Ian/Harry is Ian or Harry, and also
I've got
Know the
two.
way to the top of the mountain through
Actually,
here?
that's a good point. He might be trying to put us off, and I
you
steer
got
like
two first
wildly
names?
back up the mountain.
he could be infected. We're not sure yet. I mean, I think we should go see this fisherwoman. She might know something about what's going on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go there using the truck up the road.
Do you
Yeah.
not feel like this is the
Fast.
time for caution? I don't know.
I think it's time. I think that our mission is really important to complete, and I think it is time to do whatever necessary. But I think you're correct. Is if we didn't know about the caves, I'm sure the thieves don't know either, and there's only one way down. So up we go.
I'm going to start popping the seals off those scrolls.
Okay,
Looking
yep.
for some kind of clue as to what we're dealing with.
All right. So the scrolls are all obviously Vatican issue, and they're written in Latin, and you have plenty of time to read through them as the old truck rolls around
Classic.
the outside of the mountain.
You kinda spew.
Once I've read each one, I'll pass it back to the scientist who says she learns Latin, speaks
Yeah.
Latin,
Yep.
and I'll say, "Be careful, they're artifacts," and I'll pass them on.
So the scrolls seem to be a series first. The first one you open talks about a creature of shadow and fire, of vengeance and wrath, but a singer of hymns. This creature, due to the power of its own loneliness, the embodiment of lost souls, calls those back from the dead to join it again in life, but it cannot host them in its body, so it needs to draw them into the bodies of others, and then from there it will consume their souls, pouring them into the well, the unending and yearning well of loneliness that exists in the hollow of its form. It's written in very old Latin, deciphered from Greek, and
those are the two languages I know. So excellent.
The Greek refers to an older account still of this creature existing, but the Greek also, in the second scroll, pulls up listings of the creature's desires. It says, the creature yearns for companionship, yearns for souls, and will continually reach out to seek those, particularly lonely ones. One who displays commanding authority can command it, and once more trap it back in the container which has carried it since time immemorial. And it shows a picture of a small brass tube that is covered in a writing that anyone can make a history roll.
Oh yeah. Nope.
I got a 7 under the crit success of history.
Yeah. It's definitely a cuneiform, and you notice that in particular it is a Hittite variation.
I assume I shared all this. We both did as we translated it.
Yeah. But there is a vessel to which this thing can be trapped, but it must be bound, it must be commanded, and then bound, and then sealed in. It will only be enticed in there by the soul of somebody who demonstrates a yearning to be with it.
Creepy.
So it demands a sacrifice. How that sacrifice is offered?
Does it have a name in the Greek or Latin texts?
Yes, and this is from Marcus's own writings, and he calls it Thelandoch. And there is a chant in Latin that is written as a command phrase that can be said, or it is said that this phrase will work or has been proven to work in the past, and the last time it had to be contained was 300 years ago. But also it is said that the force of will alone and piety, belief in God, will chain its will. But it will not be bound without an offering.
That's what the child is here for.
No, wait, no. You got this wrong. Father.
Are they jewel thieves?
No, they're two.
The lady with two first names. She's interested. I'm sure she'd love to spend time alone with this guy studying.
Wow, you're throwing that giant, pretty lady under the bus?
Yeah, that is.
You're right.
It's cold.
I think Sam's probably thinks all of this is superstitious and is trying to understand how it could translate to in the natural world. So she thinks it's probably a disease that infects people who are alone, so it's not it's transmittable in some other way.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems completely feasible. And you pick up the third scroll cube, which has something rattling inside of it.
No.
And you're just sitting in the front. It's like being tossed around. It's like, hey, why don't you open this one? And you crack the seal on it, and inside, you sort of like pull it out, and inside is a disc upon which are a series of symbols that appear to create a spiraling pattern that goes down. I'd like you to make a sanity roll for me, please.
Oh dear. There's only 2 dice I ever have to use, but somehow I can never find
17 under 50.
Oof, just 43 under 50.
You sort of look at it and you sort of glance away, and you kind of it gives you a headache to look at the patterns. But it seems like buildings all turning in on themselves and winding down inside. On the back, there's more of this cuneiform, and it seems to be it's an ancient artifact by the looks of it. It's like it's an original piece. Like you guys all look at it, and Mary, you sort of glance over and you see it, and you realize that this is the silver seal of Marcus the Confessor, a legendary item of great renown and immeasurable value that was used in his day to supposedly bind and expel demons or spirits from the human form. And you're not sure what else. But
I'd like to keep hold of that on behalf of the Vatican.
We will talk about whose property it is, but for now, I think it has a use to maybe binding this particular demon.
Yeah, and the demon binding will be done by the priest. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Have a look.
No.
I share it with Harry. Pass it to Harry/Ian. Ian, Harry.
Look with your eyes.
Here you go, Harry. You can look at this, but only if I can inspect some more of those weird deformities on your bones.
Lady, you can expect those weird deformities without this, but I'll take it anyway.
So who has the silver seal of Marcus the Confessor?
I do.
I have tried to pry it from the father's cold dead fingers, likely unsuccessfully.
There are 3 scripts.
I was handing it to you and he just snatched it. I'm like, okay.
There are
It's
3...
like that. He's always been pretty handsy as a father.
Well, who's opening up those scrolls? I thought I was opening the scrolls and then passing them back to the scientist.
Okay, well, the scrolls were being tousled around as the
foot
was like skidding back.
My scroll. No, my scroll.
So you keep winding around. By this point,
Vatican scroll.
You start coming to the end of the road, and you start winding up around the last lip. And as you do so, the towering lighthouse, it's like a squat, whitewashed stone building with concrete tops, sort of rises up before you. The whitewashing being illuminated by the lightning. Off to the side and nestled in a network of rocks is a smaller house of reasonable size, maybe 3 or 4 room shack. And then, empty, sitting in the car park or the front area of the lighthouse, is an abandoned, apparently, white sports car. The lightning bolt down the side.
Which of these buildings is likely to have some sort of radio? I'm going to see if I can call down to...
The lighthouse usually have a radio, and you see the light just lazily rolling around as the rain comes down. You see the lighthouse door is ajar, but you also see a faint firelight coming out from the shack.
Okay, I'm going to jump out of the cab and go straight to the lighthouse because I want to find a radio and see if I can actually call back down to the harbour master so I can get a message back to my superiors as quickly as possible.
He was terribly useful last time, Captain.
Well, I can also try and contact the junior as well.
Well, you can try and get a message out from this
radio. I'd like
radio.
to indicate to the car and ask the boy, you know how to disable a distributor cap?
Of course not, Father, but I can try.
Just one wire.
I'm going to hop off the truck as it's slowing down and head to the shack.
All right, cool.
Yelling out.
So, Enzo jumps off the truck as it pulls to a halt, runs over to the shack. Harry jumps out and runs over to the fanciest car you've probably ever seen in your entire life, and pops the hood, marveling at the mechanical awesomeness inside. Archie ducks into the lighthouse. Father, where are you going?
I'm going into the. There's a second structure other than the lighthouse?
Yes, there's the shack, which has a dim light.
I'm going to walk towards the shack. I'm walking towards this shack looking for this Fisher Queen.
Okay, cool. And Mary Tomlin, where are you going?
Anywhere the father goes at the moment.
Okay. So, Enzo, Mary, and Father, Frederico, you all rush over to the shack with haste. Harry, you stop briefly so you pull the top off the car and you can see inside the hood. It's amazing. It's like a dream machine. It's like everything you ever wanted to drive. You feel like you're in a temple right now, and to remove this distributor cap would be sacrilege.
I'm gonna leave one of my last standing Marine.
And then you look down and you see beyond the mechanics, there's a machine gun mounted in here. Forward facing, looks like it's operated from the driver's seat.
I get in the driver's seat.
Okay, you look back, Father, and you see this look in Harry's eyes. He's all glazed over. He's moving as if against his will towards the car, and he opens the door and gets inside.
I'm very disturbed because I'm worried he might be infected, and I think this behavior could be part of that.
Yeah,
I
of course.
totally misinterpret the situation.
Uh-huh. I feel the same way about
Oh,
Carl.
no!
I understand what the boy's going through, so...
Ian, snap out of it. What's going on?
You're not Italian, you wouldn't understand. Did I leave the keys in the car?
Yes.
I turned the car on.
Almost soundlessly, the motor turns over,
Oh,
vibrating energies up through the green leather upholstered seats. A subtle level of vibration that just warms the cockles of your loin.
Is it a V10?
Yeah, olive green.
is there any buttons?
Oh yeah, there's an array of buttons just off to the side in sort of red with fetching off-white rings around the outside, all with different symbols on them. You don't know what
Give
the
me some of
symbols
those symbols. Regale me with some button option.
Are there any buttons with covers?
Give me a spot hidden roll. I'm assuming everyone is distracted by the car except for Archie at the moment.
No, we're all walking to the... I'm walking into the thing.
Okay, cool. So you're not...
I'm the only one with Ian, Harry.
Okay.
I'm going to spend 5 luck and turn it into a critical success.
You sort of like are just running your hand over the surface of the gear stick, and then you sort of like find a little divot, and you sort of like instinctively thumb it, and it flips up, and there are in fact 2 switches, big red buttons underneath the top of the gear cap.
I mean, I push it.
Which one? The one on the left or the one on the right?
Start with the left and move your way to the right. It's always the kind of...
Is the car pointing at the lighthouse or the shack?
I would like you to roll percentile dice for me.
the stick.
It's pointing at the truck.
Okay, cool. So you're sort of
You put this here.
Yeah, of course I did.
Just so that you would fall into this trap.
You're about to push the button, and you look up, and you look down the front of the car, and you realize the streamlined nature of the car, sort of the hood of the car runs down in a straight ridge to the circular hood ornament that comes up almost like a targeting circle, and it's facing the ground floor of the lighthouse at the moment.
Excellent.
No, wait, see, I'm young. Bond is around at this time.
Yeah.
I'm putting
The
things
novels.
together. This is a spy car. This is not a jewelry thief car. This is a spy car.
Yeah.
Well done, Ian. You figured it out.
We're in the Sean Connery era.
Okay,
right
so
now.
while you're living in Marvel and deciding which red button to push and which direction to put it in, Sam, you're sort of looking in the back, which is like a hilariously narrow secondary seating area, which you could only really fit in if you shoved the driver and passenger seat all the way forward. This really is
It's four.
it's more like a place. And you see there is a picnic basket that has a gingham cover over the top of it, and then next to there is a bunch of papers that are strewn around.
I would like to investigate these objects and also check. Well, start by investigating the objects.
So you,
Picnic basket.
the picnic basket has a bottle of very expensive champagne, a very expensive bottle of red wine in it as well. It's like a 1950 vintage, looks like a Spanish wine, and then a selection of meats and cheeses. The aroma of freshly made tabbouleh sort of rises up, and you see a bottle of olive oil just off to the side and some fresh bread. It seems like a delightful spread.
Looks beautiful.
And then the papers seem to be a collection of documents. There's some information on the history of the island, some information on the history of the ship, on Marcus the Confessor, and some pictures, illustrations of Marcus the Confessor's silver seal. And then there's a letter that looks like it's from a client that's saying, I recently heard that this ship was being brought back resurfaced by the authorities. It might be a tight squeeze because the USS Virginia will be there to accompany it. But I have all faith that Sable Midnight, the Bejeweled Dawn, will be up for the task. If you can get me this seal, I will pay you $10 million in unmarked
$10 million.
in your choice of unmarked bills of any international currency, or you can have it in diamonds.
Signed, Mr. Bigglesworth.
Signed, Mr. Bigglesworth. No, signed, your mysterious benefactor.
Okay.
And then there's a rendezvous location, which is to meet on a neighboring island in 48 hours from now, where two boats will be waiting, one high-speed getaway vehicle and one private yacht, undoubtedly owned by the mysterious benefactor.
What was the name of the island?
The name of the island was San Mario.
$10 million. I'm going to get totally jacked for this seal.
Meanwhile, Archie.
Yep.
You approach the door. You're flanked by the two remaining Marines.
I left one at the truck.
Okay, one's at the truck, sort of nervously looking around with this gun. One of them has a submachine gun, and one of them has a regular gun. They both have pistols. It's a bolt-action rifle, sorry. They both have pistols. Which one are you taking with you?
I'll leave the submachine gun with the truck.
Okay.
I think, we don't want that sort of stuff indoors.
All right, awesome. You approach the ground floor of the lighthouse. The doors swinging in the wind. The rain sheets down.
Weapon drawn and announcing my presence to make sure that there is no civilians that are...
How does that go?
That is along the lines of, I'm here, I need your radio, I am Captain Archie Riviera from the USS Ohio.
Ohio. You hear the sound echoing up through the chambers. You hear... Sounds like it could be the turning of gears from the lighthouse higher up. And give me a spot hidden roll, or a listen check, sorry.
Oh, that's a bit better. Listen. Yep, I'm spending some luck and I can listen. Yep. Success.
You hear some scuffling footsteps that seem like they're coming from the upper levels of the lighthouse.
Okay. In the general interior, can I see radio yet?
So you open the door, and yes, the ground floor is pretty much one open room with a set of stairs that start spiraling up. They're metal stairs that are built into the walls and start winding up around the inside. A central column breaks up the room, which you imagine supports the mechanism that turns the light at the top. And around the outside of the room are set various benches and tables. It looks like a small kitchenette area, a cot, and a locked cupboard, and then a counter upon which is a radio. Looks like it would normally be covered by an old oilcloth, but that's thrown to the side, and the radio hangs off the receiver. Just
right, Marine, I need you to get on that immediately and call for the Harbour Master, call to the USS Virginia, see who you can get in contact with, call to the nearest island that you can get to. We need help here as soon as possible.
Sir, yes, sir, I'm on it. Hello. Hello.
And I'm going to leave him there.
This is Private Ensign Wilson. And yeah.
So I will leave him there trying to get to contact as much as possible and then start working my way up the stairs towards the shuffle.
Okay. Step. Start moving up. And the sounds grow louder. Meanwhile, Frederico and Mary, you approach the old shack. It's appears to be, you see a light flickering, like a firelight or a lantern, dim but coming from inside. The door is closed.
Open it.
Knock on the door.
Okay. There's no answer.
Will it open?
Yep, so you raise the latch, you open the door. You're greeted by one main living room. There are 3 doors that go off the main living area, but it's an open sort of lounge kitchen area. This is the work of years, the house of a couple. There are pictures over all of the walls, more than could even be their immediate family, friends, lots of photographs, lots of paintings, dating back longer than you care to imagine. All tiny little things, big enough to sort of like fit and crowd the walls. From the ceilings hang herbs and dried fish, jerked meats. In the corner, an iron stove is still cooling. Fire doesn't seem to be active anymore in it, but it is still warm, radiating heat from the fire that was obviously burning earlier today. From the center of the room hangs a lantern made from an old glass buoy, wound in fraying ropes, weathered and worn. A hole has been cut out of one side, and inside is a collection of candles, all melted one on top of the other, and they're burning, casting a dim light throughout the room. Upon the floor, beside a table and chair, that would be a standard dining table, you could fit maybe 3 or 4 people at them, you catch the sight of 4 bodies haphazardly strewn around the room. They look like the bodies of 3 villagers and 1 naval officer. Naval officer seems to be of reasonably high rank. Mary, you immediately recognize the uniform as the captain's uniform.
Okay. I call out to... I just do... Archie? Archie?
Nope.
Nope.
Enzo.
Cannot hear.
No.
Enzo?
House.
I administer the last rites over the 4 bodies while she's doing that.
Enzo?
Yeah, Mary.
Yeah, can you identify any of these bodies?
I'll go over and roll them over, see if I recognize any of them.
Some townspeople you recognize, not people you knew particularly well. Father, as you guys turn over the bodies, you see that their teeth are all gone. Their eyes sockets are empty and blackened, as if charcoal has been rubbed around inside, and also inside of their mouths. You see some of them still have their molars, but most of the teeth are gone, and the smell of brine is issuing from inside of their mouth. So the three of you can please make sanity rolls for me.
Can we indeed? Wow.
You can.
Yeah, I've seen this.
100.
What was that, Father?
No, I got a 78 on this one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
100.
Critical success. I'm actually feeling better about all this. Reminds me of the sea.
So you turn over the first body. Do you recognize any of these people? Because you hadn't even examined them. And then Enzo walks in and turns the first one around. And Father, you feel the power of Satan moving through this room. Mary, you just stagger back. And look, you hadn't seen anything quite like this. Like seeing the disease, seeing everything in the heat of the moment. But now that you've had a time to cool down and start digesting it and just turning it over, it's like being hit by the biggest jump scare in the world. Just stagger back. But this scene is broken by the sound that issues from the car. What are you pointing the car at when you press your red button, Harry Keene?
I mean, I'll see if I can move it and point it, like, drive it back and point at a tree and then press the button.
Yeah, you can do that. It's your pleasure. You pull a doughy.
Whip it around.
Yeah, turns on a dime.
Oh, beautiful. I wait just a little bit, and then I push that button.
Okay, and your trance-like state of horror, Mary, is broken by the sound of a missile shooting out from the front of the car and exploding a tree. In fact, Archie, you're like halfway up the stairs, and you look out the window to see an explosion as the old gnarled tree opposite the lighthouse just explodes and goes up in flames.
No.
I want to run out and grab that boy by the scruff of his neck.
Move the car away quickly so she can't catch me.
Do you actually move the car? Because I will pull out my pistol.
Lady, I don't know who you are.
Top or the bottom? How far have I gotten?
Boy, get out of that car right now. You have no idea what you're dealing with.
I do. It's a spy car, and
I will shoot you. It's a great way to let all of the people we don't want to know we're here. Let them know we're here.
I join Mary and start trying to grapple him out of the car.
I'm giving you to the count.
Come here.
Get off me! Get!
These two women are trying to forcibly rip you away from your man
like
toy.
A motherly
Screaming
kind of
out
like
of the vehicle.
persuasion thing. Like, now Ian, what was it? The full name? Ian Harry Keene. Now, come here.
Don't you think it's the safest inside the car right now?
All right, I'm giving you to the count of three. The count of three until I shoot you. 1, 2.
I the car at her. No.
Shoot her with a missile.
Yeah, shoot her with a missile.
Frederica, you ducked out of the
I
doorway to sort of
begrudgingly
get
turn
some
off
air.
the car, but I'm keeping the keys.
That's fine with that.
Can I see this happening out some of the like little slit windows along the way?
You sort of glance out, you see the tree explode, you hear the argument like muffled in the background with the sound of the wind and the rain as you get higher and higher. But now you start to see a figure sort of through the floorboards that are old and sort of broken here and there, moving around in the top area.
Of the coming up
of the lighthouse.
Floorboards?
You're looking, so Archie is looking up through the floorboards and can see the figure.
Attention!
The lighthouse.
Ma'am, sir, madam, I'm here to help.
There's no reply.
Okay, I approach cautiously with my weapon drawn, but yeah.
The light lazily rolls around, illuminating in amazing clarity everything it passes. An orange glow fading on the outskirts of the beam, the reflector blinding, and then leaving everything behind it in darkness. You see, as the light passes, the shape of a man. He stands in the corner, facing out towards the sea. Between him and his vision of the sea lies the house. He's old, and he is shaking. He clutches something in his hand that he holds.
Sir, I am Captain Riviera. I am here to assist you. How may I assist you?
He starts, suddenly not realizing that you were there, even though you were but 5 feet away from him. He's like, oh! He's holding an object in his hand. It's a woven mess of seaweed, twine, hair, driftwood, and rocks. He clutches it to himself desperately. Says, What are you doing here?
Come to use the radio. There is an incident down on the beach with the common folk and the civilians and the Marines and such from the USS Virginia. We need to immediately evacuate this island.
An incident? Everyone has gone mad. They didn't know to hold on to the items of worship.
Yes, everyone has clearly gone mad. So allow me to help you down the stairs and we will remove you from this island immediately.
How did you get here?
We came in on a hydrofoil.
You all right? He sort of moves towards you, suddenly holding out a hand, one of his hands. He's not letting go of this fetish that he's holding, but he sort of staggers towards you, reaching out a hand to try and grab you on the shoulder, as if to inspect you.
Yeah, I allow him to, because I'm hoping to assist.
Feels your skin and sort of touches your shoulder and your chest and reaches up to your face. You're all right. You're all right.
Sir, yes.
But not for long, and he sort of fishes around in his great coat. He's sort of like straightening up his black fisherman's hat and pulls out another small fetish and pushes it on you and says, Take it. You must wear a sign of a favor.
I take it and I put it into one of my pockets. I am not one to argue with superstitions. I am on boats all the time. We spit over the side. We hit bottles onto it. I'll take whatever superstitions can give me.
Good.
Now let me get you down, sir.
No. I must stay in the light.
In the light?
It can't come from me here.
No, we have a hydrofoil ready, and we are heading back down.
It's not enough. I must wait for the sun. And then maybe I can leave, but I cannot leave her, my beloved wife.
Where is your wife, sir?
She is below.
Below where, sir?
He sort of looks ominously towards the house.
Right. Sir, are you feeling quite safe here?
Yes. This is the only place it's safe.
I have a Marine downstairs currently using your radio. I will alert him to your presence, and I will go and see what has happened to your wife, sir.
He sort of like turns back and fishes around. He says, "Take this," and he holds. He pushes a large electric flashlight into your hands.
Yeah, fantastic. I will take that too.
And come back. I mean, if you come back at all, just be safe, sir.
I will be back, and I start to descend the stairs with my flashlight.
All right, so you get to the bottom of the warehouse and you find a confrontation taking place where Mary Tomlin is drawn a gun on
a child.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said she was going to shoot.
Yes.
Drew a pistol. She said, "Get out of the vehicle."
Right, so I've informed the Marine to, keep an eye out for the gentleman at the top of the stairs, come out to this incident. We need to get out of here.
The Marine, so you get to the bottom of the stairs. The Marine turns around and says, "Sir, I got a hold of the Intrepid. They're not local, but they're pulling into the base. They're pulling into the naval base that we just came from. Probably in about 5 hours from now. They can be here by dawn."
Excellent. Is that near the USS Virginia? That where we were? That one or the original?
Well, wherever you want. I've got him on the line, sir.
I feel like the port we came in originally would be a better option. The chaos down on the beach near the US Virginia is probably too dangerous.
I'll tell them to come to the main pier.
Yep.
All right, very well. Yep, this is... And he gets back on the horn.
Okay.
Talking to him.
Excellent. And the incident outside, obviously, is still going on there. Right, we have a ship. The Intrepid is coming. It should arrive at dawn. I suggest we clear things as quickly as possible here and get off this island. I will send word to my superior officers that the Virginia needs a bigger cleanup crew than myself.
Great. Well, to be honest, we have the artifact, so there's nothing, I guess, that's holding us here.
I just need to investigate what's happened to the gentleman's wife.
Were any of the corpses women?
Yes.
I think they may be.
How old was that lady?
Not that old, like 30.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's not
While
it.
they're squabbling over the car and that whole thing's going down, I want to return into the house and look for an entrance to the basement.
Yep. So you
Trapdoors
open.
on the other
You see that the door opposite is open. Well, there are 3 doorways that lead out. One of them is open. The other 2 are closed.
I'll poke my head through, but I'm specifically just like not doing a full search
Okay,
of each
cool.
room. I'm looking for an
So
obvious way down.
The first room just seems to be a bedroom. The second room, you should open the door, and the light from the candle filters through into a room that's covered floor to ceiling, wall to wall, in shells, driftwood, and dried seaweed, and hair all woven into these elaborate patterns.
Super creepy.
Here and there are hidden little statuettes, little idols from different deities, different
This is the bedroom
religions.
of the Sea Queen.
Yeah, it seems to be just like a room in the sense that somebody would lock themselves into a room and plaster the walls with crucifixes. Somebody has come in and exacted some intense sheltered workshop craft activities.
I'm calling out in Italian. Old wise woman, we need your help, and it looks like you need ours. Are you here? Are you safe?
The third door, the one that's slightly ajar, seems to lead to a set of stairs that goes down.
Wow.
And as you look down and sort of shine the light glints on the walls, it seems that those stairs and the stairwell itself is carved into the stone of this island.
Okay, so I've got my torch and I've come on in.
Yeah.
Is there photographs in here at all, so I could identify the man and perhaps his wife? So
Yeah, you look around and there's photos and pictures over all the walls. So give me a spot hidden roll. I'm assuming you've all come together into the house now.
Yep, and I also take.
Alright, I followed everyone. Good plan.
Keeping an eye on the lady who tried to shoot me, though.
Yeah, fair.
Well, Mary
Like,
Tomlin,
keeping
you've met juvenile delinquents before, and you recognize one, and that's Harry Ian Keane. He's no good, and he'll
No.
never be any good.
That
His
is
only future is in a jail cell.
Exactly.
They used to say that about me, Mary.
I failed. my
Now look
spot
at me.
hidden.
I've got a craft of my very own. It's sleek. It's red.
Can't see shit.
And so I'm pretty sure if you weren't useful to certain people, you'd probably be in a prison right now.
Maybe, but maybe not.
We've all done a little time, surely.
Yeah, I failed my spot hidden.
I had a critical success.
I had 100.
So
And a normal success.
you guys look around.
And Paul, Paul
So
Gibbons.
Sam,
Mm.
what strikes you? So you're looking around. It's people. You don't know any of these people. Archie, did you get a success at all?
No.
Okay. Ian, you look around. You recognize like some of the pictures of townspeople. So there's pictures of almost every townspeople, every mother's. There's pictures going back to of your mother as a girl, of your father as a baby. You only recognize that because you recognize the picture of your grandfather holding him. This woman has in this house. They have a track record of the family lineages of every single person who was born or lived on this island. But Sam, you're looking at a picture of one of the of this woman, and you see her in a lot of different guises. This is the most common figure that jumps out at you. Is this woman at various ages, and this one woman, maybe it's a family resemblance, but the pictures of her, they go back through all of the ages.
Okay.
And there's one picture of a painting, very, very old painting, of a child that's being born, held in the mother's arms, and the picture is set up to be the same look as the Virgin Mary holding the child, baby Jesus. And it's painted on a small vase. But the child has some periwinkles growing on its body. And this is an old vase, unless somebody's made a mock-up of it in like an old style. But it looks like it's from the 1800s earlier.
Does anything like, so there's one woman who seems to be there, at least something that looks similar to her exists in a lot of these images.
Yep.
And then there's this one, sorry.
You notice her with different spouses.
Yeah. It's very helpful. My character has a photographic memory, so have I seen anything like, does anyone that I've seen in the town or anything I've seen around the town, like, are there any resemblances in these images? Like,
the big thing that really you notice is the uniform style of the fetishization of the objects in the environment, seaweed, driftwood, things, and the the charms that you found the various people in the town carrying. They all tie back to this woman and her essence, her creativity, her outlet.
Okay. And does she look familiar? Like, does she look like anyone we've met?
No.
Or seen?
She's distinct.
Okay. And then there's a vase with, with the boy with periwinkles? Was that?
A child. It's a girl child, though.
Girl child. Okay. Her origin, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Okay. I'm going to talk to Ian Harry. Keen.
Oh, now I'm out of power. You want to speak? What's going on?
Do you recognize this? There's this woman. She seems, or at least her descendants seem to appear in all of these images. Do you know who she is?
That's the Fisher Queen.
That's the fish?
The matron mother of the island. She's always been around.
She's always been around.
Well, as long as I've been alive. She's always been old.
And what role does she play in your town?
Well, I mean, Father, block your ears.
I'm walking down the stairs.
I'm going with you, Father.
This conversation is like happening behind you all. I'm assuming you're all slowly moving down the stairs.
I'm just in slow motion on the top stair, I guess, doing the thing of walking down the stairs.
Allow me to go first. I've got the torch.
She's like the superstition of the island's religion. You know, it's kind of a little bit of the Catholicism, it's a little bit of the local tradition. You wouldn't get it unless you lived here. But mainly the old people are into it.
So you kind of worship her?
Me? No, I said mainly the old people.
The old people, not you. You're young.
I'm virile. Too young, too virile.
Harry.
And hairy.
Okay, I share what I noticed with the rest of so Sam. Everyone, have you noticed there seems to be a woman? She recurs in all of these images, and I don't know, it's according to Ian, she's been in this town as far as anyone can remember.
It's an uncanny resemblance, but perhaps it's just a family line, strong family traits.
But it's also impossible, like,
Breeding's
it couldn't happen.
What, inbreeding?
Well, it makes sense that someone kept lineage, you know, prevents a bit of cousin-on-cousin action.
Creepy.
You are all
right?
descending. This is all happening at the back of the line as you're all descending these stairs. Archie, you're shining the light over Father's shoulder.
Yep.
And
I'm brandishing a crucifix in one hand, the right hand, and I'm brandishing the seal of the confessor in the left.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're looking at the cuneiform on the back, and you can actually read it because you made that amazing roll before.
What's it say?
Decide to the enemy.
You don't know what it says, but you know how it is pronounced. You know that they are invocations, and there are 3 of them.
I'll roll through the 3 invocations, and then I'll chuck in a Latin benediction from the old real true religion, and then I'll go back on repeat.
Okay, cool. So the Father is speaking in Latin in repeat, chanting these things and chanting these other invocations that you guys haven't heard before. I would like everyone who is not the Father to make sanity rolls, please.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ew.
I'm good.
Nope.
Nope.
I'm not even using my
5.
hardened bonus dice.
Did anyone fail at all? No?
Yeah, I failed.
Okay, cool. The sound of the chanting is making you nauseous. Anyone who failed. And you also lose a sanity point. As you're spiraling down and down and down these stairs, you come to the bottom of these stairs, and the stairs stop being more so uniform, and they start becoming more and more separated, more and more spaced out, until eventually they just give way into the natural caverns. And then you start to see carvings on the walls, these quite simple but correct, anatomically correct, detailed, almost like an 11th century medieval European painting style, but bas reliefs in the walls. And there are pictures depicted of these people coming from the sea and giving offerings to those on the islands. As you go further forwards, the story goes along, and it's these people. It turns out that there's one person from the sea who came and visited people on the islands, and then eventually you see you come to a corner, and it looks like it's about to turn the corner, and you can hear the sounds of scratching and soft, subtle cooing. Oh, ooh, ooh.
I'll have my
Somebody
gun out ready.
quieting and comforting a child.
I'll see that Mary's a bit blanched and fish a hip flask of rum out. Hand it over. Get yourself together.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. But I do have my pistol drawn.
So the final pictures that you see on the wall, these pictures of union. And you're first in the line. It's a pretty narrow corridor, so 2 could squeeze in together if you wanted to fit in, but and you also see a dull green light spilling from around the corner where you hear the sound.
I'll
I'm
I'll finagle my way forward. These are my people.
Well, I'm looking for the woman, the wife.
So you're going around the corner?
Towards the
Yeah,
center.
we're going around.
Okay. So as you all come around the corner, you roll around, and the space opens up into a large vaulted chamber. Ian, you've been to this chamber before. This is the chamber, and you all look, and far across, being accentuated by the vaulted ceilings of the natural cavern, is a large female statue in a position of reverence. She stands elegantly with bare feet, loose cloth draped from her over her head, covering her face, draping all the way down her body, sheer and rolling with the shape of her body. Upon the statue are crustaceans, mollusks, shellfish, and growths that you would normally find on rocks and boats, but she is covered with them. You even see living starfish clustering around the base where a crude altar is. Before the altar sits cross-legged the body or the shape of a woman. She is cowled in black sheer cloth that covers her head and her shoulders. It's heavy lace, tattered and old. On the ground before her, she cradles a shadowy form. She strokes its head. She coos to it. Around the edges of the chamber, you see sitting a conglomerate of beings. People from the town, people from the ship, soldiers. Some of them lie on the ground staring with their empty hollow eyes and empty mouths, turning to the ceiling of this chapel. And others, maybe 20 more, just sit kneeling or cross-legged off to the side, all rocking back and forth, holding their hands together and facing in the direction of this woman and the statue.
Ma'am, I have come to assist you. And I go towards her.
I'm gonna reach out and maybe like grab the back of that coat.
Okay, so Archie, if you feel
I'm
a tug.
specifically looking for that golden tube that I'm hoping to use to bind whatever evil is going to need to be coerced into it. The one referred to in the scrolls.
Okay, so you give me a spot hidden roll. In fact, everyone can do
Oh,
that.
02. Yes.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh no.
Nope.
My 15 is wasted.
15. I go right. 15.
All right, cool. So Sam, because you were looking at the material as well, and Father Federico, you guys see it discarded in a pile off to the side. There is you see like catch a glint of light, and you can see the tube. It's like about a foot long. Catch the polished brass and the gold gilt exterior and the gems that are set in the top and the bottom. You see the crack of the wax. It's about a foot long and 6 inches across.
Understated.
True Catholic style.
And again, in the corner, there's this other refuse like broken wood, some crates, boxes, other things. It's just been
When I get the
passed
chance to
aside.
act, I'm going to pass off the crucifix to somebody whoever will take it from my hands, otherwise drop it on the ground, and then make a run at that scroll tube.
I've got
Okay.
the
Are
rosary
you
in one.
abandoning your cross?
My
Yes,
head to the
it's
crucifix.
a pivotal moment. Yes.
Man, that was a fast flip. You have very little faith.
No. I Marcus the Confessor's seal is the real item of power here, not a cross I plucked off a hotel wall.
I'm going to go forward and put my
Not
hand.
an iconoclast, I take it. Okay.
All right, so in this, Archie, you've been held back. You've announced yourself, and the woman sort of like turns, and you hear a growling coming from this creature that she's trying to soothe. But she goes, quietly, it's sleeping. And then Father Federico goes, out of the way!
I'm going to run interference for Father Federico.
Rushes like a bat out of hell across the room to this trash pile. Father, make a dodge roll as you are grabbed at by all of these parishioners who on the outside.
86. That's
Okay,
not
so-
good.
Father's like go running across the room, and these guys they reach out and they grab his legs, and he falls to the ground. So you take just 2 points of damage. You just like fall on your face. Give me a agility or dexterity. What is it for these guys again?
Dex.
Dex.
Roll.
Can I go and assist the father?
14. That's a great success.
Yeah, so you sort of like fall over, and the seal almost falls out of your hand, but you clutch it. You realize that as you hold it, your grip readjusts and falls into these natural finger grooves that seem to have been worn down by the weight of time. Someone holding it for dear life. Maybe not just Marcus the Confessor, but possibly many people for thousands of years before him.
He just takes all the
Comforts me a little, to be honest.
And in that position, you can actually see all three of the inscriptions through the finger holes.
I'm not going to start saying them again until I get to that scroll tube, though.
Okay, so
If I see where he's going for, considering I'm sort of at the back of the coattails of the Admiral, I'm actually going to just slip backwards and make my way around to that scroll very quietly and at the back.
right, yeah, give me a stealth roll as you try
I'm
and.
clutching the crucifix that the priest gave me for dear life. That is a good success.
All right, awesome.
Not critical.
So you push yourself against the wall and you slink around. Sam, you sort of catch sight of him, like, what are you doing?
It's everything. My eyes are on you.
Crucifix, rosary. I'm like,
So you've got the rosary. They count as knuckle dusters, by the way.
okay.
Sweet.
Sam, what are you doing?
Watching him, watching the scene. Not sure what
Okay.
to do.
Okay. Mary?
I'm going to keep my pistol drawn, but lower it and stay quietly. Particularly watching the father.
The father's been grabbed by 3 of these guys.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They're grabbing at him. You know what happens to people who are dragged down. By these
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna
things
start
before.
helping the father, trying to help the father, but
So
like
you rush
without.
into the room.
No, I
He's
calmly.
like, like halfway across the floor when he got grabbed and tackled.
Can I like rush, but like power walk, not like.
It's not an emergency.
Spy power walks across determinedly.
All right, give me.
Rush.
No 2 feet off the ground at once.
All's fine.
It's all in the rolling of the heel. Rolling of the heel.
Like if I could do a bit of a silent run, I just don't want to like I want to be as fast but like as little disturbance as possible.
All right. So you move across. Give me a stealth roll. Let's call it stealth power stealth.
Worst spy ever.
Give me a dexterity roll
no.
to try and avoid being dragged.
Luck won't even save me, and a dexterity roll.
Yes, please.
Yes, and I'm gonna spend 2 luck and make that a great success.
All right, cool. So they're reaching out to grab you, but you dance over the top of their forms, and you get to the father.
And I just want to I guess I use my brawl skill to
Yep, you're gonna
try to like
grapple them off him. Yep.
yeah. That is I'm gonna spend some luck. That's a lot of luck I'd have to spend. Yep, regular success.
Okay.
All right.
You grab it, pull it off, and your hands like sink into the flesh. Give me a power roll.
Power roll. Nah.
Okay, they sink into the flesh, and it's like, and you feel them slowing into the bone, and you sort of, as you pull back, you're just grabbing whole sides, and you sort of like stagger back in repulsion, stumbling and falling onto your knees, and you're like holding these whole flank of just melting flesh in your hands. Dropping, you drop your pistol to the ground.
Okay.
The pistol just sort of clutters across the floor. Archie?
I'm going to slowly kind of maneuver around so I can see the woman's face and what she's holding. So going quietly with my pistol, but not completely aimed at her or anything like that. Trying to keep out of the way of any of the disciple-y people. But I just want to see what it is that I'm dealing with right now.
Okay, so carefully and quietly and easily moving step by step, being cautious, taking your time.
Yeah.
You seem to not be disturbing the state that everything is focusing on of this woman and this shadowy, now that you look closer, childlike form, but in the same way that the creature that you saw before was just a point of blackness, in reality, this shadow absorbs all the light. It seems to be agitated, but its agitation is in response to the people in its environment and the chaos that's being caused by Father Frederica wrestling with these creatures. And Ian's just creeping around the outside of the room, not disturbing anyone. Your slow and steady movements seem to be calming and reassuring. Enzo, what is your end goal of this?
My end goal is just to kind of get a glance as to what's going on and to,
You're
how
moving
can we assist?
in between the people sitting around the outside of the room and the tableau that's being presented in the middle. You catch a glint of light off an eyeball as she sort of looks over towards you. But so she's aware of you.
Yeah.
But it seems like her entire focus and her energy is this soothing, matronly, motherly, reassuring energy that she's
And I want
pushing in.
push that back to her in terms of, that soothing, calm, I'm here on your husband's behalf. How can I assist you?
You saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm watching this keenly.
She's like,
Does she look like the woman I saw in all the pictures?
her face is cowled, with the lace that she's wearing. It's hard to get a good angle, but as she sort of tilts her head up towards the captain, you do get a striking silhouette of her face, and it is the woman, but she doesn't look very aged. She seems like a handsome older woman, but not ancient.
Right.
And she says to the captain, she says, "You remind me of my husband."
Just man-eater.
Ooh, Enzo, what are you doing?
I'm gonna go and try and do what I can to try and save Father Federico.
Okay. So you
not as guns blazing as possible. However, if there is a decorative ceremonial cutlass or something hanging on a wall, I'll grab that.
There are some farm implements here and there.
Something that
You see, give me a percentile roll. It's luck roll. Give me a luck roll.
Well, my luck isn't higher than 99. So,
Everything seems to be stone.
Spend some luck to make it better.
Objects. There's nothing readily available. Like it's all nets and ropes, things like that. Nothing heavy and cudgel.
oh, nets are actually perfect. I'm gonna haul down a net and throw it over the people who are trying to grasp at Father Federico.
Okay.
Tangle them up in it.
Let's hope you don't
Yep.
get Father.
I'm a captain.
Give me a just give me a dexterity roll.
Yep. That is a critical success.
All right, cool. So you see the net, you sort of run past, or you sort of rush over to it, and some of these things are grabbing up at you, but that's not what you're paying attention to. You sort of pull the net down and throw it over, and Father, you feel yourself, well, it's just sort of reaching down to sort of like deal with the situation. You feel this net sort of go over you and go over these creatures that are restraining you. So what are you doing?
Me. So I'm under the net now.
Yep.
I'm going to. Well, I'm kind of trapped here. Can I see Ian having made his attempt to get to the scroll, or?
Yeah, Ian's on his way. Like
And
you're
how far
actually
from the scroll am I currently?
probably about 10 feet, but Ian's like moving steadily uninterrupted. They seem to be not even noticing him.
Okay, I will then basically use my brawl to try and subdue some of the people under the net with me.
Yep.
So I've got a chance to hold my hand out through the net, ready for a catch.
Yeah,
Do it,
go for
Punch Priest.
I've got some skills in this. This is my, seedy past life coming to the fore here, hopefully.
Used to be a Golden Gloves boxer.
Yeah, 75 is not a good roll, however. But this is all I need luck for, really?
Yep.
So I will spend 40 points of luck.
You don't need luck now.
40. You can always take a second swing, but you just need a major success.
All right, I'll take a second swing. Maybe spend some luck on that one. Yeah. 43, that's pretty good.
That is
I
a
need
lot.
Major success.
Okay, cool.
So that would be 25 points of luck to be spent.
Positively economical.
Which I will more happily
swing
do.
in. The shot, like, you should, like, pull it back. You swing in. You feel your fist like penetrate through the outer layer of flesh and hair, and it just cracks the neck bone as the head sort of lolls off to the side, and sort of the figure becomes a limp on the ground before you, while the other one sort of still is grabbing at you. But as he reaches out to thrust his hand towards your face and jam his fingers into your eye holes, using your head like a bowling ball, it gets caught in the netting. It's like as it reaches towards you. And you're saved from a horrible fate. Yeah. Ian.
I'm gonna again swallow the vomit that I just spewed up in my mouth, and keep moving slowly towards that tube.
Okay, cool. So you get past and you get to the pile of refuse. There's all this stuff, and you see that. Wow, actually, that's pretty fancy.
Ooh. I wonder, does it need the gems to work? That's what I'm wondering.
You know, there's like a lot of gems on it. There's like super nice, and then those old styles, like polished round gems. You see only 2 finely cut gems in there, but the rest are like old school.
Toss it, boy!
Real money. But you know, you've dealt with secondhand goods. Being in the Mediterranean, like this is the heart of the old world. You've seen ancient items. You know that it doesn't need to be polished to be worth a lot of money.
Toss it and the car is yours!
Ooh.
My language. But he actually can't give you the car. Oh, this is hard. But what a person, I always lie. I was told that by Enzo. Is there any loose jewels on it?
You do a quick. You give
Just a quick once over.
Give the tube a quick finger. Give me a luck roll.
That is a 5.
Wow.
All right, cool. Yeah. Oh, this one's free and this one's free. I'll just slip my cocaine nail under there.
They accidentally fall off. And I will, as I stealth over to the father, I will hand him the slightly lighter and now obviously more agile tube.
It's more holy without all the ostentatious displays.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like the Jesus cup was a simple wooden thing. You don't need the frou-frou.
All right, cool. Awesome. So you pass it over. He's covered in this net, however. Regardless, that is you for the moment. Sam, what are you doing?
I'm going to start moving towards the woman. And I don't seem to be taking any direct aggression from anything, so I'm going to start moving towards this woman who I believe is like maybe been alive forever.
And in what manner are you approaching her?
Calmly.
Okay.
And openly.
Like a marine biologist.
Okay, so you cross the floor with a calm and collected energy. Do give me a power roll.
Oh dear.
But because you've been observing everything in the situation and you're very curious, I'm going to give you a bonus dice. So you can roll 2 10 dice and 1 unit dice, and you can take the higher of the 2 10 dice.
Lower.
The lower of the 2 10 dice.
Take the lower, it's better.
Okay. Oh, in that case, I rolled 0 1.
Okay.
That'll do it.
You cross the floor, and Archie's sort of sitting to one side, but you as you approach, you feel like you're completely within your comfort zone. You feel like you're also in complete comprehension of what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, you have a scientific eye and approach the situation, and you sit and you see, now that you're very close, that in fact it does look like the figure of a child that she's cradling in her arms. And she looks up to you as you approach, and she gestures with her head and her eyes that you should sit down with her. And she's trying to, and you get the impression that she is subconsciously or subliminally, just through her actions and mannerisms, trying to show you what she is doing, which is to keep this thing calm. But I also need you to make another power roll because she's stroking this emptiness, this hollow void.
Power. Okay, that was a fail.
Do you want to spend some luck?
Try and roll again for a critical success and then see if I can use some luck. Oh, and 35. So I need to spend 25 luck. How much luck do I have? Where is it? Oh, there we go. Yes, I have that.
So at first, like it looking into this thing is feeling like it's a vacuum for your being, feeling like this abyssal darkness that is pulling you in. But the more you look at it, the more you start to see discernible features pull out of the blackness of its form. And in fact, you start to see the image of hands, a face of a child who is distressed, whose face is twisted with grief and sorrow, and loneliness, but through that, its face is starting to relax and relaxes when she calms it through her actions, through her manner, through her way, and she is trying to impart this to you. And how to do this.
Name is. What's
The
her
woman.
Name? Yeah.
The matron mother, the fisher
No, I'm
queen.
asking her what the child's name is.
Oh, okay, you ask her what the child's name is.
Girl.
Elendorf.
As you hear that sound, as you hear Elendorf, almost like a breath rolling out of her mouth. It is old and it's been chained for a long time. It is scared and it must be looked after. And she looks over to Father Federico, who give me the scroll tube! Enzo, or Archie, sorry, what are you doing?
So I'm still there.
So you're standing there. Sam has just come over and she sat down. This conversation is happening before you. The fisher queen doesn't seem to be too upset that you're there. Regards you, says you remind me of my husband.
Ma'am, can we assist you? We have a boat arriving. We can get you safely off the island.
I want you to make a power roll as you stare down at the form.
No.
Okay. There is, as you say, there is a boat arriving. Your eyes roll to the point of blackness in the room, and you feel your essence starting to drag out of yourself. It starts to fall into it, like this form. You sort of is standing there, and you know you're standing there, but your vision tunnels, and your consciousness just starts funneling into it.
I'm gonna reach down to my pocket to see if I can find that fetish thing.
Give me a power roll again. You can, however, lose D10 points of sanity while you're there.
Yeah, I failed again.
Okay, cool. So you reach down and you make your... How much sanity did you lose?
I lost 6 sanity.
Okay. You're like... and you feel something else coming up inside of you. And you are taken by a sudden rage, which you can act on in your next round. It is uncontrollable, and it is wild, and it is directed towards Father Federico Modinetti.
Excellent.
Enzo.
I'm going to do my best to make my way over to the net and try and help Father Federico, and only Father Federico, out of the net.
Okay.
He seems to be doing a good job on the villagers.
Okay, so as you're rolling over, hands are reaching out to you. One of them sort of like stands up and fully tackles you. So make a dodge roll.
No, dodge, hey?
Come on, Enzo. Dodgy rolls are our specialty.
I don't have enough luck in the world. I'm going to try and just dive out of the way as a new attempt at that, and aim for that half. So I'm going to spend some luck and make my good success there.
All right, cool. So it tackles you, but you roll with the tackle and grab it by the shoulders, twisting its body over to the side, and it just rolls on the ground away from you.
Amateur league.
And you manage to make your way over to the father, and you sort of like start pulling the net off of him while wrapping it around the body that's still flailing in there. All right, father.
All right, I think I got one shot at this.
Take the tube, father.
I snatched the tube, the vandalized tube from the...
Excuse me. They were loose.
I point it at the black child figure, and with brandishing then the seal of Marcus the Confessor, I say in English for everyone to understand, Thelendor, join with me in the name of Lord Jesus Christ, our comfort and Saviour, in the eternal embrace of the kingdom of heaven. And then I bust out the 3 liturgies that are on the seal.
Okay.
And pointing the whole, I'm trying to command it into the tube.
All right. And are you offering yourself as the sacrifice?
I am. It's the only. I couldn't put the fisher mother in. That's not cool. We don't roll that way. This is an act of self-sacrifice. I think.
Okay. Make a power roll.
58 over 50. I will spend 8 luck points.
Okay, cool. So, Sam, you're sitting there. And you're sitting with the fisherman, and you see the child that you started to see come out of the shadows start to once more become wrapped in the shadows as the incantations being ushered by Father Federico Mederi start turning it, and the shadows start growing and increasing its mass. And you see in spite of this, the Fisher Queen starts just stroking it and saying, and she keeps going. She tries to counteract it by being even more calm, and she looks with one eye. You see there's a bit of desperation coming up, but only you notice that, just a little bit on the fringes. What do you do?
I am going to try and reassure her. The fisherwoman, not the child.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna talk to her about how things end sometimes, and that's part of living.
She says to you, sometimes things need a chance to live so that something can end. Otherwise, this will all just happen again. Yep. Mary, what are you doing? You've fallen. You're just staggering back. So you fall into the ground. Your gun's gone to the side.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up my pistol and holster it, and then I'm just going to like, my attention's just on the seal, and if I can have like a held action type thing, like as soon as I just want to grab up that seal and the vessel thing, as soon as whatever's happening finishes happening.
All right, cool. All right, so you're saying that you're calling out you're sort of looking at it, and you're looking at the seal, and you give me a spot hidden roll.
Who that?
Mary Tomlin.
Oh. No, 98.
So Ian, Harry Keane, what are you doing?
If I hear what she says,
give me a listen roll, because you're going to have to hear it over Father Federico's screen.
It is a success, but I'll spend 2 lucky boys.
Okay, and then you give me a spot hidden roll as well.
That's a critical.
On the spot hidden?
On the spot hidden.
Jeez.
All right, so hiding up behind the statue, on either side of the statue, just in the shadows, holding what looks like a suction pistol, and the other one holding a grappling hook, busted in there, just completely out of sight, are the distinct forms of 2 lithe figures wearing black catsuits, and they have like little nodules around their wrists and around their belts that obviously are containing all manner of secret gadgets. Now, one of them, the female form, looks at you and winks knowingly, and then looks to the seal, and then looks at you again and winks knowingly.
What a wanker.
They're not going to be happy I gave away their car.
And then the male form holds up a finger. And then, Archie.
I am getting up from my sort of position because I was kind of crouching down low to talk to the woman, and this rage is obviously taking over me. I am standing up and I am walking with force towards Federico and pointing my pistol at him and shooting.
Okay, cool. Give me a shooting roll,
like
please.
a guttural cry. Oh, throwing dice away.
You're lucky he's only shooting you, not hitting you with the ham hocks that are his hands.
59. Oh, success with my shotgun.
Oh.
Finally. Nice one.
Yeah, it took you long enough.
I know. Look, I haven't had to shoot.
Finally.
I tell other people to
kill him.
All right, do you have your shotgun stats on the sheet?
That'll be new.
All right, cool. Just you're at super close range, so roll 1d10 and add 5 to it.
7.
Total?
1d10, right?
Yeah, plus
I rolled
5.
2.
Okay, cool. So a bevy of buckshot shreds through your arm and shoulder. Father Federico, give me a power roll.
16. That's pretty good. That is
Alright, cool.
Just another day.
crit.
Just
Not
another
a crit. Good success.
Just another day. You don't break stride. You don't break sentence. You keep on holding it, and you feel that something inside of this disc is moving. And I want Archie to make a power roll.
And as I'm getting closer, I'm going to throw my weapon aside and kind of go for a tackle. 56. Yes, succeed on my power.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
You feel something is now pulling you towards this disc in this way. But you lunge at him. Enzo or Mary Tomlin, you have a held action. Do you want to intercept?
Who's
Archie
lunging?
is going to attack
Archie.
Federico.
Yeah, I'll intercept. I'll back Archie off.
Okay, cool.
I'll fight. What's it called? Brawl.
Yeah.
And that not successful.
Oh man, and there's so much of him to hit.
Okay, so you throw yourself across the room, but Archie, the military years of military service serve you well, and you just give a stern slap to Mary on the back of the chest, falls in the dirt, flat on her face.
I'm a bit more like a wall, like people just run and attack me and kind of bounce off.
By John Goodman in the film version.
Yeah.
Father Federico Madetti, what are you doing? This chaos is happening around you. You're free of the net. Archie shot you. You held your seal. You're calling out to this thing. You feel the mechanisms inside it turning. You see the shadows growing around this child. This is definitely the creature that you saw before in the street.
I have tough guy and strong-willed. And scary, but I don't think that's relevant here. Tough guy, strong-willed. I'm sticking to the plan.
Okay,
this is the way it's got, as my understanding, has got to be. There might be more subtle options, but I'm not with it. And so I'm saying, join with me in the brotherhood of faith, and we will live together in the glory of the Lord. And then keep going with the.
Awesome. All right, cool.
Forward. I'm ignoring Archie, and I'm walking up to the kid in the fisherman.
So you can have a bonus dice and one more last power roll with advantage.
I'm going to spend the last of my luck.
You spend the luck to bring
spend all of my luck.
An extreme success. You burn it all because this is ultimately the last act that you will engage in for the rest of your life as you call forth the eldritch incantations, the cuneiform on the back of the disc that spirals, and you draw the shadows in towards it, luring it like some vacuum cleaner. It screams, Sam Norman. You stand there and you're trying to cool it. The figure of the Fisher Queen stands before you and says, "He has sacrificed himself, but this is not over. Others will have to do the same." As the form evaporates, screaming, it reaches out, grabbing you. Deep lacerations are torn down your forearm, Sam Norman. As it reaches out, desperately crying to stay in this world. The Fisher Queen feels the same thing, and in fact, part of her hand is torn away, and she sort of gets sucked in, and then goes into the tube, and then Father Federico Medici pops the top of the seal on with the last of his strength, but then slumps to the ground, completely unconscious, his eyes smoking, his teeth cracking, slowly disintegrating into dust as his head lolls back, and the tube, now capped, rolls to the ground on the floor and rolls across. The rest of the figures around the outside of the room all slumping to the floor, a faint mist exiting from their bodies. They're all twitching and falling, now useless to the ground. And then, as if from nowhere, the held action of a man with a suction cup moves out, grabbing the silver seal. A scritch.
My soul's going to end up in a private collection.
Through the chamber, as you see the forms of Sable Midnight and the Bejeweled Dawn sitting from behind the statue. And they go, "Time to hit the tunnels out of here. Sayonara, suckers." And they slink down on ropes to either side, and they hit a tunnel that leads out and down, throwing behind them a stick of dynamite.
Before they get to that whole dynamite section, I'm a dodgy child.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just
you
going to try and kneecap them both with my pistol. Because
Give me a
that's not
shot.
my money if they leave.
It's true. Give me a shot.
So rapid fire means I can kneecap both of them.
That's right.
That is a standard success
Yep.
that I will spend 20 luck pulling down to a good success on the first one. And then on the second one, that is a good success that a standard success that I will spend 3 luck pulling down to a good success.
Their heists always end the same way.
Okay. Being kneecapped. So you've won them both. They both fall to the ground. And Mary Tomlin moves like a bat out of hell to tie them up and put them in their place. Archie slowly comes back to some sense of consciousness and also moves to help restraining them. Enzo, I'm assuming you're also going to help?
I'm just going to stand around and go, look, I feel kind of bad about this. Just not your day.
But as this all sort of dusts off and rolls down, the Fisher Queen turns to you, Sam Norman, and says, gesturing to the tube, "What will be done with this?"
I don't know.
Can I see this?
Is this
Can you do anything other than be incredibly preoccupied?
No.
And then she walks over to the tube and picks it up.
Sorry, this is the gold tube? Is that what we're talking about?
The tube that the creature and the soul of Father Federico Medici have been trapped into, apparently.
Okay.
I'd like to say it belongs to the Vatican, but...
You're not there to tell them.
Well, what do you think should be done with this? What do you think it is, and where should it belong?
It needs to be released and departed, but releasing it will cause even greater turmoil. I can hold it here for
how long can you hold it?
the foreseeable future. I will take it deep into the caves, where it will not be found.
Why do you make this kind of sacrifice? I mean, for whatever's going on here, I don't pretend to understand it, but you should live your life.
I see a deep sense of compassion in your soul. When this is done, find me. Come find me in the caves. I have much to teach you. And then you kind of are distracted for a second, and then she's gone. Disappeared as if in a puff of smoke. And you are there in a chamber with the rest of you. You have 2 jewel thieves tied up and kept in captivity.
Is there a reward for those guys?
On the floor. Yeah, likely one that Mary Tomlin will take. So we're going to go around, and everybody is going to give us, we're going to do a little epilogue for all told. Everything gets wound up, and the ship comes in the morning to take you away.
So does the artifact disappear with the...
No, the artifact, the scroll tube which in and of itself is an artifact, with Father Federico Madetti disappears with the Fisher Queen. It is obviously up to Sam Norman to decide whether or not she wants to tell you about that experience that she had with them while you guys were capturing the jewel thieves. Enzo washes his hands of the situation.
I slip my number and address to Bejeweled Dawn. Seems like a fun girl to hang out with. And in case they ever need a
Hoping
third
they're
on
siblings and not a couple.
Slip the thing.
They give you some map coordinates in the transit for where to meet them when they make their daring escape, and hope that you will be the person who will engage as the getaway vehicle in your high-speed hydrofoil.
Well, that's red.
And you also are then involved in the escapades of these great jewel thieves, the scourge of the Mediterranean. Archie.
So I'm going to guess that the scenes down on the beach have calmed down. So before we leave, I'm going to head down there to see what is left. Try and board the Virginia as well to see if there's anyone left on board that is alive.
A handful, perhaps 10 or 15 sailors walk around with scant memories of what was and what happened. 1 or 2 of them just never came back to be who they were, claiming to be out of place and out of time, never knowing what happened and why they were back here and what happened to all of their friends and all they knew. They were committed to asylums where they rotted away for the foreseeable future with no explanation to what it is they experienced or what they saw.
Yeah.
You carried the memory with you, and after 6 months of arduous paperwork and
I wrote personally to every family who had lost someone.
And answerable committees, you were then held up as a figure of authority for other issues that may have happened in the future. But most of the reports and the official information was just buried under so much red tape that it never saw the light of day.
Redacted.
Ian, Harry Keane.
So I run back to my ma with a pocket full of gems in the hope that she is still alive, so I can get her
What do you mean you drive back?
treatment that one of these gems can provide.
Make a luck roll, Harry Keane.
Oh, you spent lots, didn't you?
Yeah, I started pretty lucky. It's fine. It's 38 under 40.
Oh wow, you had a lot of luck.
I had a lot of luck.
You get down to the basement and you hear the Harry, why can't I feel my arm? And in spite of the fact that she is crippled, you are able to nurse her back to health, and you buy a luxury. You buy yourself a house. Well, you buy all the property on the island because nobody owns it anymore. You turn it into a massive resort and casino. Occasionally in drunken nights telling stories of how you made your fortune. Stories that no one believes.
Because nothing bad will ever happen on this island ever again.
Nope. Mary, your success at the successful arrest of these people, of the Bejeweled Dawn and Sable Midnight, is short-lived, for they managed to mount a daring escape with the aid of an unknown hydrofoil pilot in the next 12 months. But you do manage to get your hands on the seal, which is returned to the Vatican, unfortunately, after
Yeah.
After a deal, or what actually happens?
She finds a forger and gets someone to like forge the seal, essentially.
Okay.
You shoot the men of God?
Like an artist. Like I'll just get a local artist.
Yeah, to copy the seal.
Yeah. And give that to the
Give me
Vatican.
a very important power roll.
Another satisfied customer of questionable Giuseppe.
He's a good guy until he's my interior decorating.
That's 30 under 50, so a success.
You manage to hold out, and even though this item is enthralling and sometimes captivating, its power seducing you on occasion, you manage to fend off its wiles and slowly master the art of its use. Something that sees you leading the path for other investigators or forging a path for other investigators to start a Bureau of Pure Paranormal Investigation associated with Interpol.
Perfect.
However, the poor artist you gave the device to is driven insane through interaction with even the replica of this device. And the visions that they see them rotting in an asylum forevermore.
Yeah,
Sam,
whatever.
just collateral damage.
Yeah.
Giuseppe!
Classic Mary.
Sam Norman.
Oh, my epilogue. So after her successes in this campaign, Sam returns to her high-powered life as a kind of academic and sought-after intellectual. And she's made her name by engaging on this mission. She publishes a theoretical paper that hypothesizes that there's a possibility that there could be a biological connection between generations over time in these almost things that might seem almost supernatural. And she quietly takes up therapy, not on her father's books as she usually would, but by herself. She starts to see a therapist, concerned that perhaps some of the things that she remembers from that time were not true, and perhaps she is losing touch with reality. But secretly, she harbors a thought that perhaps there's more to learn about the world than the science that she has lived her life by up to.
And one day, many, many years later, you decide to return to the island of Petra, where
casino.
after removing
Petra.
some bushes, you go down some old, incredibly familiar cave networks, where you eventually go to reclaim the promise of tutelage from one who saw promise in you so many years earlier. Father Federico Medetti, your life and soul are cast into an endless void of fathomless isolation and loneliness until every atom of your existence is permanently erased from the cosmos.
Incorrect, sir. It's like the I Dream of Genie Land. And I teach the little guy boxing.
A delightful fantasy that plays over and over in your head. Chaosium. As you attempt to maintain sanity as your consciousnesses entwine. Thanks for playing, guys. This has been awesome.
Woo!
Good time.
You insane!
Yay!
The world wasn't destroyed!